When I became a young teenager back in the day, I was obsessed with urban legends. I was that obsessed that I would buy magazines every week from the local corner shop. I would then cut out pictures and stories and make my very own scrapbook of the legends that I thought was the best. When my mates came over, they would make so much fun of me because I used to collect the best stories of urban legends. I would even go so far as to have posters made of the ones that I thought was the best and keep them pinned to my wall. However, one legend that stuck out to me, one that I loved to read at least several times a day, was called, "Humans Can Lick Too," or the Hand Licker, depending on which part of the world you lived in. I even made up my own stories on my computer of this legend. I was so impressed with this story, that I made several different stories and posted them just about anywhere I could on the internet. Even on Reddit. However, this story is a story on how I survived a night of horror with every detail restraining to every detail I had written in my stories. It looked as if someone had become obsessed with my stories and wanted to make it a reality for me. This story goes back into the summer of 2005. My parents loved to take what we called date nights. They would go our one night a week for the whole night, where they would romance each other. They did this as it was hard to show affection to each other when you have children. You know how things was when you have children, and also your other half, if they aren't calling you for something they want, then they just want you attention for a bit. If not, then they would be driving you up the wall, so they would say. People with children out there would know what I am talking about. My parents promised each other that from the day the first child was born, they would take one night a week where they could go and have fun with just each other. You know, go for dinner, a movie, or maybe just a dance. I am now the oldest at the age of 17, so I was old enough to look after myself along with my younger siblings. They usually got in a babysitter, but they no longer did this as I was now old enough. The money they used to pay the babysitter they now gave to me instead. On this week this happened. They had planned to go out for a meal, the movies, and then for a dance. They wouldn't be back till the next morning, and my other siblings was staying at their friend's house. To be honest, I was actually looking forward to having the house to myself, as those of you with siblings will understand that you can never get any time to yourself. I had a great night planned out for myself. The time had come for them to leave the house. "Don't forget to lock all the windows and doors," my parents told me as they left through the front door. Taking the words into mind, I went through the house and started to lock all the windows and make sure the doors too was locked. Now, with all the door and windows locked, there was however one window left. It would have to be in the most creepy place. I thought to myself, oh well, better get on with it. The last window was down in the basement. I hated it. I was cold, damp, and not lit very well. I grabbed a torch from the drawer, turned it on, and went very cautiously down into the basement to where the window was located. I grabbed hold of the handle of the window, but it was very stiff and would not move so easily. I pulled and pulled, but it would only move about an inch. Getting fed up of the window, I looked around the basement for anything that could help me to close the window. There in the corner on the shelf I saw a small can of oil. I knew that by putting oil on the hinges, then it should loosen up if I just moved the window back and forth. I did this for what seemed like 5 minutes, but in the end, the window did decided to close itself. However, it would never lock. I thought to myself that it wouldn't matter, anyone that walked past the window would think that it would be locked as it was now close. Oh, how that would come back to bite me on this night. Not thinking too much into it, I knew the basement had a deadlock built on the door, so I decided to lock the basement door instead, thinking that would be enough just in case someone decided to go through the basement window. Now, with everywhere locked up, I decided that I would watch a bit of TV, had a nice dinner and go and browse the web for any new urban legends that I have never heard of before. Before I could do any of this, I would need for feed our dog. She was a border collie, black and white in color. She had beautiful colors. I went to the cupboard, got out her food and put a generous amount in her bowl. It seemed like I was on the web for hours browsing the urban legends. Oh, how time flies by when you are having a bit of fun. It was now dark outside. Looking at the time, it read 11 p.m. While that is late, I thought to myself. It was time for bed. I turned off my computer, then went to the bathroom to get ready for bed. A nice hot shower, teeth brushed and my PJs on. I walked into my bedroom and was delighted to see the dog laying with her head just out of under my bed. She always seemed to sleep with me. I have no idea why. Maybe she liked me more than the other members. I started to snuggle up in my bed, put my hand down near my dog so she could lick my hand. I liked it when she does this. It makes me feel safe and also assures her that I am here and I am fine. I kept my hand there for a few minutes before deciding that enough was enough and it was time to close my eyes and go to sleep. Later that night I was startled awake. I didn't know how or why I was, but I was. I laid there for a few minutes listening to my surrounding and then it hit me. I was hearing the tap drip in the bathroom and just figured it was that awoken me. No big deal, I thought to myself, it was just the tap, but starting to feel nervous, I put my hand back down to my dog's level so he can lick my hand. This brings me reassurance and also I know he is there if I really need him. An hour later, I was yet again startled awake. This time while still half asleep, I sat up in my bed and looked around the room while listening. I must have left the tap running, I thought to myself. That was however strange as I saw sure that I had turned off the tap. Then I thought to myself that maybe there was a leak with the tap. Again I snuggled up in bed and put my hand back down to my dog's level to have him lick it. The next time I woke up naturally with nothing startling me awake. I looked at the time, it read 6:25. Thinking that it was now light outside and I won't be able to get any more sleep. I managed to pull myself out of bed. Drawing back the curtains and looking out the window, I can see my parents' car pulling into the drive. Great, I thought, I could get my dad to look at the tap and fix that drip I have been hearing all night. Being out of bed and somewhat cold, I needed to go to the loo. I put on my slippers, opened the door and went to the room that was the bathroom. What I saw that day when I opened the door will forever haunt me day and night. I fell to my knees screaming. My parents, hearing my curdling screams, came running into the house to my side. They asked me what's wrong. I shakily raised my arm and pointed into the shower of the bathroom. There are beautiful collie dog hung from the hook in its tail from the curtain rail. The dog was skinned with its skin in the bath. He seemed to be gutted with all the contents too in the bath. On the mirror, there was a message that shook me to the core. I turned white as a ghost as it read, "Humans can lick too." The thought that there was someone in my room, under my bed while licking my head turned my stomach. I couldn't take it anymore and I had to throw up. I pushed past my parents and ran to the toilet and let loose. I didn't want to because of the scene in the bathroom, but I couldn't help it. My parents called the police that day. They came and took a statement from me. They said that due to every window and door being locked, the only other way they could have gotten in was through the basement window. However, what startled me the most was, when did this person break into our home, as when I closed the basement window. I also deadbolted the door leading to the basement as I didn't quite trust just leaving the window closed. My parents never left me alone again. When they went out, they made sure that I either went to my friend's house for the night. If not at my friend's house, then I would go and stay at a relative's. My parents put the house up for sale that year. We just couldn't live in the house anymore knowing that someone was in there. The house sold quite quickly and we moved into a new house within 6 months of selling the house.